Nope is the third film directed by horror director Jordan Peele. This is the one of the most anticipated movies of 2022, especially for myself, as someone who has loved pretty much anything that Jordan Peele has been involved in. Really, he has emerged as one of, if not my favorite voice in modern horror. He really was integral in the whole elevated horror movement and has really defined what this genre looks like in the late 2010s to early 2020s. Get Out was a smashing success, almost universal acclaim. I love that movie to death. It's probably my favorite of 2017. I don't know. I go back and forth between three different movies that year. But that was a phenomenal year for film, and that movie pretty much sits atop everything else that came out that year. And I loved Us. Maybe not nearly as good as or phenomenal as Get Out was, but still very disturbing, very well directed, and very smartly written. It just was a bit too dense for its own good, but it's still phenomenal. I would still give it an A-. It would still make my top 10 of 2019. So yeah, that film is still phenomenal. And Candyman, that came out last year, I think it was executively produced and written or co-written by Jordan Peele, and obviously directed by Nia DaCosta. I loved that movie way more than a lot of other people did. I thought that movie really hit the nail on the head. Also made my best of the year list. Just, he has really hit a nerve with me, this style of filmmaking, and I have really been excited for anything that he's been putting out. And this movie looked phenomenal from the trailers. I was hooked right from that first little teaser that we got. The second trailer I wasn't a huge fan of because it was so different from the first one. There were such different tones that, I don't know, it felt at the time like it was revealing too much. Now seeing the movie, it does not at all. It really doesn't give the main meat of the story here, and doesn't sacrifice the tone or anything like that. The subversion that you feel with this movie is not ruined by either of those trailers. It's actually kind of heightened by that. So, yeah, I was very, very excited heading into Nope. For sure, top 2 anticipated movies of this year. So, yeah, what did I think? How did Nope stack up against his other movies? How did Nope stack up with sci-fi in general? Let's get into it. And I'm just going to come out and say it. This movie was fantastic. I absolutely adored Nope. Easily one of my favorite movies of the year. Definitely better than Us. And almost reaches the heights that Get Out kind of set for Jordan Peele. He really, this movie was a sci-fi masterpiece and a love letter to a lot of older stylings of sci-fi. So not only did the direction and thrills feel airtight, the cinematography, especially in this movie, is easily his best. He worked with a guy who usually works with Christopher Nolan. I don't remember his name, but he really put pushed it over the edge. Was the cinematography. It was all absolutely gorgeous and all unsettling, and all framed it in a way that felt comforting, but also you could feel that lingering danger. But again, his direction was really on point here. All of the shots just felt so effortlessly amazing. They all just were, whoa. Again, it's hard to talk about without spoiling anything, but there were so many shots where I was just taken aback on what was happening. And the thrills in this one really delivered. I from what I was hearing, because I allowed myself to see bits and pieces of other people's reviews, I don't know. I was expecting the thrills to kind of be dialed back and the scares and not to be as present in this movie, but they are very much not necessarily in the forefront, but are there and are phenomenal. There was a couple of moments where I was a little jittery and a little creeped out and disturbed, especially one scene involving a monkey, and then another scene involving Stephen Yeun's character and just what happens at a big carnival show. Again, I don't want to get into spoilers, but those are specific moments that really just wowed me with how unsettling they got. And like I was saying earlier, not only was the cinematography gorgeous, but the set design was so immaculate. All of it really, really felt real and felt like you were actually in that moment. Because they do use real location. They use a lot of practical effects in this movie for the most part. Obviously, with the one big exception. But a lot of this movie is using practical effects, and I really did enjoy that. But the script, a lot of people are calling it messy, and I really don't agree with that. I thought that the dialogue was phenomenal. I thought this movie was really funny, which, again, is expected with Jordan Peele. Most of his horror movies, I wouldn't necessarily call them horror comedies, because they're just not, but they do always have that levity and have humor to them, and I think this movie might be the funniest he's ever put out. I'm not quite sure. And I'm going to circle back to the script in a minute, but the overt influences of classic 70s sci-fi really helped subvert my expectations for this movie and elevated this among the usual horror fare, elevated even among his other movies. It takes a lot of influence, and you're going to see this a lot in other reviews, but it takes heavy influence from Spielberg and stuff like Close Encounters with the Third Kind, or movies like Signs, even. That kind of wonder with the alien life, and wanting to capture that, wanting to find out if there is more out there, and kind of wrestling with that danger. A lot of those kinds of themes are tackled, and especially in the soundtrack, there's a lot of really cool, not callbacks to those kinds of movies, but homages, and I really did enjoy that. I really liked that it wasn't just an alien thriller. I really liked that it wasn't just, I don't know, a one-noted movie. It takes its influences and not only wears them on their sleeves, but takes those influences and subverts them in a very dark and twisted way, and I really did enjoy that. The character work here and the casting might just be the best I've seen all year. Everyone was phenomenal in this movie. I cannot pronounce his last name, but Daniel something. It's blanking at the moment. He was phenomenal. Steven Yeun was phenomenal. The lady who played the sister, I think it's Kiki Palmer. I think that's her name. Jesus, I'm very much blanking with the names right now, but they were all absolutely fantastic. I thought they were brilliant, honestly, even Oscar-worthy performances, because they were all so believable and so well worked off of each other. The guy who played Angel was great. The guy who played the cinematographer was really awesome. Because everyone really bounced off of each other really well, and their dialogue was so well written, and their characters were so well defined that you kind of just really connect with them immediately and know what each of their different quirks and personality traits are. I don't know, I just really, really liked how well the characters were balanced and how well they connected with each other. I just thought that was really, really well done. And there were moments, like I was saying earlier, that were legitimately terrifying in this movie. Maybe not to like the level of Us, where it's like a holy shit moment, or Get Out, but it's a different kind of scare. It's like a I don't know, like a deep dread that you feel in your stomach when watching these scenes. And I really, really liked that Jordan Peele didn't hold back in that aspect. The messages of fame-seeking and like metaphor within art really, really paid off. I do think there may have been one too many metaphors and one too many themes kind of being sewn into this movie. But that's a really small nitpick. That's not even really an issue I have, just something I would have preferred. A lot of people really criticize Us for being too dense and too up its own ass. And to a degree, I agree with that. To a degree, I agree. I think that movie falters when it's trying to be too much and trying to say too much to where it's kind of vague. This movie does not do that. The message is very clear. Not very clear, but clear enough to where it's not on the nose, but it's also believable and you can connect to it. And I think those messages are apparent enough to, I don't know, warrant having them all be in this movie. I don't think it's messy per se. I just think there's a lot going on, and I get that some people have an issue with that, but I really wasn't bothered by it. And it's honestly just one of the most well-made movies I've seen in a very long time. Uh, there's two movies in particular that I liked more that came out this year. But honestly, I don't even know if I can say they were more well made than this, because this was just immaculate. It's like a perfect movie that where everything just syncs up and is so satisfyingly cinematic. That's the best word I can describe this movie as. Really cinematic, and it really knocked. I almost said knocked my socks off. I'm not gonna say that. It really blew me away. It really, I don't know, elevated Jordan Peele into the level of, wow, he's probably one of my favorite filmmakers now. I just absolutely adored Nope, and I'm so glad that it was good. I was so worried that this movie was going to disappoint. It's kind of been feeling like every movie has disappointed, or especially if you follow music, which I do. I have another blog, I have another outlet where I review music, and it's just been really depressingly sucky. Like, especially after a phenomenal first half of this year, a lot of movies have just been kind of lacking and kind of just been, that was okay, that was alright. But this one really delivered it and really hit the nail on the head. The one gripe that I have with it is the ending was a bit too unsatisfying and took some directions I wasn't a big fan of. Again, it's a very small issue. It's something that I don't know, has been, again, the main criticism against Jordan Peele, that his endings haven't really stuck and are way too metaphorical and are, too vague for their own good. And while I don't necessarily want to pin that on Nope, I don't want to give that description of it, there was just parts of the ending that I felt could have been a little bit more satisfying, could have been a little bit more, I don't know, less airy. That's what I'm going to call it. It was a little too, listless at little moments. Again, this is a very nitpicky thing, but it was as much of an issue to where I can't call this an absolutely perfect movie. I can't give it my best grade, but it is very, very close. I very much want to see this movie again, and I could honestly seeing it grow on me and becoming my favorite movie of this year. But for now, I'm going to give Jordan Peele's Nope a very, very strong A. I really, really hope you guys go out and see this one. This movie is phenomenal. So yeah, that's my review for Nope. I obviously really loved it, and I really hope you guys go and see it. Go and see it in IMAX too. That's what I saw it in. It was definitely better for that. I have watched most of the movie Hustle. I don't know if I'm going to do like a 1-minute review of that, or I call them quick reviews now. I'm not sure what I'll do with that. Maybe do another roundup review, but also I'm going to watch The Gray Man probably tomorrow, and I will review that. And the second part of the Blu-ray collection will be coming very shortly. And other than that, I will see you guys in the next video.